Imagine this. You are standing before a great, silent abyss. The only voice echoing from the void belongs to a philosopher known for his hammer, Friedrich Nietzsche. He speaks a warning that has been twisted for over a century. A single searing phrase. You are going to women? Do not forget the whip. The air grows cold. Your modern mind recoils. Is this the ultimate proof of his misogyny? The venom of a bitter, lonely man? This is the trap. This is where every interpretation fails. But what if you've been deceived? Not by Nietzsche, but by your own assumptions. What if this warning isn't about domination at all, but about something far more psychologically profound? A hidden danger that ensnares not just men, but women themselves. The true terror lies not in the words, but in our refusal to hear their real meaning. We cling to the superficial shock because to look deeper is to confront a mirror. We label him a hater and believe we have solved him. But the greatest philosophers are never so easily dismissed. His real message is a ghost, haunting the space between the sexes, a silent war fought with illusions. To understand is to understand a fundamental and terrifying human game. The question is, do you dare to see what he truly saw? The answer will unravel everything you thought you knew about power, love, and the shadows we cast upon each other. The deception begins not with malice, but with a psychological reflex. Carl Jung called it our shadow, the repressed, unconscious parts of ourselves we cannot bear to acknowledge. Nietzsche's warning is a mirror forced into our hands, and we shatter the glass to avoid seeing our own reflection. We project our own unexamined fears of power, vulnerability, and the raw, untamed nature of the human soul onto his words. This is the hidden problem. A collective cowardice. Why does this specific phrase trigger such universal outrage? Because it strikes at the core of a sacred modern myth, the myth of pure, powerless innocence. Nietzsche and Schopenhauer saw beyond the social veneer to the terrifying, creative, destructive will that pulses beneath all life, in men and women. To admit this is to admit that the game of love and power is not played by the rules of polite society, but by the primal laws of nature. We have sanitized relationships, turning them into transactions of safety, while Nietzsche points to the abyssal truth beneath. He isn't advocating for the whip. He is exposing the hand that already holds it, unseen. The real violence is the violence of illusion, the quiet tyranny of expectations. This is the philosophical root, a warning against the lie of passive virtue, a concept that corrupts from the inside out. But to what end? What is the true cost of living this lie? The consequences are more intimate and more devastating than you can possibly imagine. If these hidden shadows are revealing a deeper truth, subscribe now. The deepest consequences and the path to breaking free are just ahead. This silent pact of misunderstanding has forged a cage of quiet desperation. The consequence is a world where genuine connection withers, replaced by a sterile theater of roles. We see it everywhere. In the resentful provider, trapped by a duty he never consciously chose, and in a partner who wields a victimhood as subtle and potent as any whip. This is the passive will to power, Nietzsche foretold, a power not seized, but extracted through guilt and moral leverage. It is a cold war fought in the silent treatments, the withheld affections, the unspoken contracts of modern relationships. Our very neurology is complicit. Cognitive biases like the victimhood mindset rewire our perceptions, allowing us to frame our own manipulations as righteous defense. We are culturally conditioned to see strength as aggression and weakness as virtue, creating a system where authentic desire must be disguised, where true strength is punished and hidden weakness is rewarded. This is the unseen trap, a society playing out an elaborate, soul-crushing pantomime where no one dares to name the game. We become actors on a stage, following a script that demands we be either the tyrant or the saint, all while our authentic selves starve in the wings. The price is your vitality, your truth, your capacity for a love that is fierce and free. But if this is the prison, what is the key? How does one shatter the glass and step out of the play? The rebellion begins not with an action, but with a devastating and liberating thought. What if the whip was never a physical object, but a symbol of your own unconsciousness? The tyranny is not in the hand that holds it, but in the mind that refuses to see it. To break free, you must perform the ultimate act of philosophical jiu-jitsu. Stop asking, how do I disarm the other? And begin asking, what whips do I willingly hand over? What lashes do I secretly invite? This is the counterintuitive pivot. Nietzsche's true target was resentment, the poisonous, silent resentment that grows when we outsource our power and blame others for our cage. The escape route is self-overcoming. It demands you stare into your own Jungian shadow and reclaim the projections you've placed on the other. It requires the courage to desire vastly, to communicate with terrifying honesty, and to take absolute responsibility for the dynamics you co-create. This is what it means to become a sovereign individual. History's freest spirits, from the Stoics to the existentialists, understood this. The outer battle is a distraction. The only revolution that matters is the internal one. You must incinerate the need for a villain or a savior in your story. But this raises a final, terrifying question. If you succeed in this rebellion, what world do you step into? What is the ultimate truth that awaits on the other side of this liberation? The ultimate truth is this. Nietzsche's warning was never about women. It was a catastrophic mirror for the soul of the individual. The woman he speaks of is the eternal feminine principle, not a gender, but the symbol of nature itself, chaotic, creative, and supremely powerful. It is the unconscious force of life that does not negotiate, the reality that refuses to be tamed by your fragile ideals. And the whip is the feeble, desperate instrument of the ego that believes it can and must dominate this fundamental chaos. The warning is against your own inner tyrant, your own pathetic attempt to lash out at a universe that is inherently wild. When you finally understand this, the entire struggle collapses. You see that the goal was never victory in a battle between sexes, but the transcendence of the battle itself. To approach life in a woman, a man, or your own destiny without the whip is to approach with reverence for its untamable essence. It is to shed the need for control and instead engage with a fearless, off-illed honesty. This is the final poetic liberation, to dance at the edge of the abyss, not as a master, but as an equal participant in the terrible and beautiful mystery of existence. The echo fades. The silence that remains is not empty, but full of a meaning you must now, finally, create for yourself. If this final realization shifted your worldview, ensure you don't miss what's next. Subscribe for more. Let us know in the comments, what was the whip you finally saw in your own hand?